Ten Hag has been sacked as Manchester United head coach. Who will take his place? Rodri gets the Ballon d'Or. Vinícius is furious. Bayern poach Barca's young star. And Perez has made a decision on Carlo Ancelotti's future. All this and much more in today's edition. Are you ready? Then we can begin. Well. Erik ten Hag is officially out as Manchester United head coach. Surprised? Not entirely. Everyone saw it coming, yet the timing feels off. A coach who's become an expert in dodging the axe finally fell, but not after a humiliating defeat. Ten Hag got the boot after loss to West Ham, a match where United actually looked pretty decent. If anything, they dominated, but it all fell apart thanks to wasteful finishing and a controversial penalty. Dalot's miss alone could make it into a "how not to score" compilation. Was it really this game that sealed his fate? Let's not kid ourselves, this wasn't just about one unlucky night. The Dutchman's second season has been an absolute mess. Injuries? Yes. Unfair criticism? Definitely. But let's face it, even the most patient United fans saw the writing on the wall. The promising, progressive coach from Ajax, who brought a spark in his first season, simply lost the plot in his second. When Ten Hag first arrived, the hype was real. He took charge of an Ajax team that was his creation, playing slick, attacking football. United fans hoped he'd work the same magic at Old Trafford, and for a while, it looked like he might. There were moments in his debut season that gave fans hope. The League Cup win, a fleeting title challenge, and that sweet feeling of progress. But then came this season. Injuries ravaged the squad, and the media, like vultures, started circling. United legends joined the chorus of critics, and suddenly every press conference became a war zone for Ten Hag. As if the pressure of managing the most scrutinized club in the world wasn't already enough. He managed to rally the team at times, but it never felt like the atmosphere around him was stable. It's tough to keep players focused when everyone around them is constantly questioning your methods. It's a different vibe here. At Ajax, I built everything from scratch. Here, it's not just about tactics, it's about managing expectations, media noise, and pressure from all directions. Ten Hag admitted in one of his more candid moments earlier in the season. Here's the twist. After all the worst moments, they sacked him following a relatively decent game. It feels like management pulled the trigger when they had run out of patience rather than strategy. Couldn't they have made this call after those humiliations against Liverpool or Tottenham? Instead, Ten Hag's exit feels more like bad timing than sound judgment. But one question still lingers. Who takes over now? Step in, Ruud van Nistelrooy. The Dutch legend is set to act as interim head coach, but the United board doesn't seem convinced that he's ready to take the wheel for good. Enter the list of candidates: Julian Nagelsmann, Ruben Amorim, and Thomas Frank. Nagelsmann has flirted with the idea despite being tied to Germany's national team. Ruben Amorim, currently with Sporting, seems eager too, though the final word depends on Sporting's approval. Amorim's reputation as a builder of young talent could be exactly what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is looking for, with the club now placing emphasis on developing academy players rather than splashing out on big names. Amorim's coaching resume checks a lot of boxes. He's nurtured talents like Pedro Porro, Matheus Nunes, and Ugarte into stars. And let's be real, United could use some of that magic right now. The Red Devils need someone who can foster unity in the dressing room. At this point, tactical complexity isn't the priority. It's about reviving the vibe inside the club. But of course, this is United. The biggest question isn't about Amorim's abilities, it's about the environment around him. No coach can succeed at Old Trafford without backing from above. And with Ineos now on board and Ratcliffe calling some of the shots, maybe, just maybe, the club's new leadership will create the conditions needed for long-term success. So, is Amorim the man to finally bring stability to Manchester United? Will he even get the job, or will Nagelsmann swoop in last minute? Nothing is ever straightforward with the Red Devils. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, Zinedine Zidane. With his track record and aura, Zidane has long been linked to United. Could he emerge as a wildcard option? After all, as they say, Zizou likes to keep us waiting. What's clear is this: whoever steps into the hot seat will need more than just tactical brilliance. They'll need thick skin, charisma, and the ability to navigate the relentless noise that comes with the Old Trafford spotlight. Whether that person is Amorim or someone else, only time will tell. But one thing's for sure: United fans won't wait long for results. So, what do you think, Reds? Is the club finally on the right path, or are we gearing up for another chaotic chapter? Who said defensive midfielders can't shine? Rodri just shattered that myth, becoming the first non-attacking player to win the Ballon d'Or since 2003. Not since Pavel Nedved has a player outside the usual glamour positions claimed football's most coveted individual prize. But unlike flashy forwards, Rodri didn't need to score hat-tricks or post cryptic tweets to earn the honour. He let his feet do the talking. Rodri's resume from the past year is ridiculous. 4 major trophies, 12 goals, 14 assists, and 1 defeat in a nearly flawless campaign. Oh, and did we mention his dominance at the Euros? He wasn't just another piece in the Spanish midfield puzzle, he was the piece. If Sergio Busquets was a metronome in his prime, Rodri is a conductor, setting the rhythm, sweeping up and launching attacks all at once. It's fitting that Pep Guardiola trusts Rodri like no other player. Whether City is playing against relegation scrappers or forcing Real Madrid to sit deep and pray for penalties, Rodri runs the show. Need someone to break lines? Rodri's your man. Low block, suffocating the attack? Rodri pushes forward. Man mark him all you want, he's still everywhere. Rodri's simplicity extends off the pitch too. At the awards ceremony, he accepted the Ballon d'Or on crutches with a humble grin, delivering an understated speech. I don't have social media, so people don't know much about me. I'm just a regular guy who loves football and tries to be a good person. No boastful Instagram posts or marketing campaigns, just pure love for the game. And in an era when personalities often overshadow performance, that's refreshing. Vinícius Jr was reportedly so confident he'd win that he promised Rolex watches to his family and friends before the ceremony. But instead of holding the trophy, he had to watch Rodri's triumph from the sidelines. I'll do it 10 more times if needed. They're not ready, Vinny later commented, hinting at conspiracies in typical fashion. It's hard not to wonder, did Vinny's frustration come from losing or from realizing that not even an incredible season guarantees recognition? Is it fair that Rodri won? Depends on how you define best. Voters obviously valued his consistency and team contributions over Vinny's flair. But here's the real question. Why do defensive midfielders only get noticed once in a generation? Ironically, Rodri didn't even make the Premier League's shortlist for Player of the Season. How do you win the Ballon d'Or but not even crack a domestic top 3 list? This isn't just a Premier League oversight, it's a reflection of how football undervalues the unglamorous roles. Defensive players rarely get the credit they deserve. Luka Modric, the last midfielder to win, was more about artistry. But Rodri? He embodies pure efficiency, doing the dirty work, keeping the engine running, and letting others grab the spotlight. It took a generational season and 4 trophies for him to stand where forwards have stood for 2 decades. Rodri's victory is more than just individual recognition, it's a nod to teamwork. In modern football, where egos clash and personal brands matter more than ever, his win feels like a rare throwback. Football, at its core, isn't just about solo brilliance, it's about creating the conditions for others to shine. And Rodri? He's mastered that art. Now the real challenge begins. With injury concerns piling up and a brutal schedule to navigate, will Rodri be able to replicate this form next season? Or will this Ballon d'Or remain an outlier, a rare recognition of a player who thrives outside the limelight? For now though, Rodri has shown that being in the background doesn't mean you aren't essential. His win reminds us that football isn't just about goals, it's about everything else too. In a stunning turn of events that has left the Santiago Bernabéu echoing with uncertainty, Carlo Ancelotti found himself watching helplessly as Real Madrid was dismantled by Barcelona in a match that sent shockwaves through the footballing world. The iconic Italian, once hailed as the mastermind behind Madrid's recent glory, now faces whispers that his storied tenure could be nearing its end. Despite clinching La Liga and the Champions League last season, insiders reveal that the Madrid hierarchy is growing restless. President Florentino Perez, typically unflappable, is reportedly fuming over the latest display of fragility on the pitch. Sources indicate that Perez is already laying the groundwork to usher in Xabi Alonso as Ancelotti's successor come next season, a move that has fans and pundits buzzing with speculation. Ancelotti's contract, extended to 2026 amidst doubts over his age, 65 and counting, now seems more like a ticking clock than a tenure of stability. Alonso, the revered midfielder turned manager who recently led Bayer Leverkusen to an unprecedented Bundesliga and Cup double without dropping a single game. Alonso, a Real Madrid legend with 236 appearances between 2009 and 2014, is seen as the perfect blend of tactical acumen and locker room magnetism. Although he just inked a new deal with Leverkusen this summer, a clause allows him to depart for Madrid by June, setting the stage for a potential move. The friction between Ancelotti and Perez appears to stem from differing visions. Ancelotti's enthusiasm for bringing in Kylian Mbappé and extending Ferland Mendy's contract has clashed with the club's strategic plans. Perez's frustration is palpable, especially as Barca's recent thrashing exposes vulnerabilities that even the seasoned Ancelotti couldn't patch up. Is Alonso the saviour Madrid desperately needs, or is this a hasty reaction to a single poor performance? Alonso's success at Leverkusen certainly makes him a formidable candidate, but could his transition to the Bernabéu disrupt the delicate balance Ancelotti has tried to maintain? Moreover, the Mbappé saga raises eyebrows. Was the French superstar's signing more about flair than functionality? With Vinícius and Rodrigo already dazzling on the wings, does Mbappé's presence complicate the attacking trio? Or is he the missing piece to clinch the elusive trebles? Will Perez's gamble on Alonso pay off, ushering in a new golden era, or will Ancelotti rally the team to reclaim their dominance? One thing is certain, in the ever-evolving drama of football, today's champions can quickly find themselves chasing shadows. Only time will tell if Madrid's strategy will lead them to further glory or plunge them into deeper turmoil. Is this the end of Ancelotti's storied chapter, or just another dramatic twist in Madrid's illustrious saga? The Bernabéu whispers the answer, and the world's eyes remain fixed, waiting for the next act to unfold. In a surprising twist that's got everyone from Munich to Barcelona buzzing, the Bavarian giants are reportedly plotting a summer 2025 swoop for Barca's midfield, Marc Casado. At just 21, this kid isn't just knocking on the door of greatness, he's kicked it down and made himself at home. But who is Marc Casado, and why is he suddenly the hottest commodity in European football? Let's dive into it. When injuries hit Barcelona's midfield like a rogue wave, with stars like Gavi, Frenkie de Jong and Pedri all sidelined, the Catalan club didn't panic. Instead, they unleashed their best-kept secret from La Masia's treasure trove. Enter Casado, a homegrown talent hailing from Sant-Pere de Vilamajor, who's been with Barca since he was a pint-sized prodigy in 2016. Special might be an understatement. With 12 standout performances and 4 assists already under his belt this season, special might be an understatement. With 12 standout performances and 4 assists already under his belt this season, Casado isn't just filling gaps. He's weaving the fabric of Barca's midfield with threads of pure gold. His vision, razor sharp. His passing, think laser-guided missiles. And his ball control, slicker than a freshly watered pitch. So it's no wonder Bayern Munich have taken notice. With whispers of Joshua Kimmich's future at the Allianz Arena up in the air, his contract ticking down like extra time on a referee's watch, the German juggernauts are scouting for the next big thing to anchor their midfield. Casado fits the bill like a glove, but here's where it gets tricky. Barcelona, despite their storied tradition of nurturing talent, are no strangers to financial turbulence. Remember when they had to let go of a certain Argentine magician? The economic pressures could force their hand yet again. For Casado, it's a classic crossroads moment. Does he stay put, donning the iconic Blaugrana and etching his name alongside legends? Or does he embrace a new challenge, swapping La Liga for the Bundesliga? Let's put it to you. If you were in Casado's boots, what would you do? Stick with the club that raised you, or make a bold leap to one of Europe's heavyweights? From Bayern's perspective, snagging Casado would be like finding a gem in the transfer market minefield. With Vincent Kompany at the helm, they're building a squad that's as formidable as it is flexible. Casado's skill set, impressive vision, surgical passing, and unflappable composure could be the missing piece in their midfield puzzle. In footballing terms, Bayern are looking to park the bus in front of their title aspirations, and Casado could very well be the engine that keeps it running smoothly. But let's not forget, transfers like these aren't just about money or strategy. They're about legacy, ambition, and sometimes just a dash of footballing romance. Marc Casado's future is the talk of the town, and the saga is just getting started. Will Barca hold on to their rising star, or will Bayern pull off a transfer coup for the ages? We will find out soon. Mats Hummels, fresh off a brilliant final season with Borussia Dortmund, looked like a no-brainer signing for Roma. A seasoned veteran with leadership skills, dominance in the air, and a knack for organising defences, what more could the Giallorossi need? But football loves to throw curveballs, and Hummels' Roman adventure is already looking more like a disaster movie than a Renaissance tale. Hummels' abrupt exit from Dortmund was a shock in itself. Leaving the club after a fallout with coach Edin Terzic, who later quit on his own terms, hinted that the German wasn't in the mood for drama. After the transfer window slammed shut, Roma swooped in to grab the free agent in September. With his track record, expectations were sky high. Hummels was seen as a ready-made solution to Roma's defensive woes. But fast forward 2 months, and instead of leading the backline, Hummels is warming the bench. 7 games, 0 appearances, and not even a sniff of the matchday squad in one of those matches. It took until Roma's thrashing against Fiorentina for Hummels to get his first start. And what a nightmare debut it was. The German veteran looked out of sorts and, to make things worse, his own blunder sealed Fiorentina's 5th goal. Roma head coach Ivan Juric didn't mince words when asked why Hummels hasn't featured more. "I only play the strongest. What matters is performance in training, age and CV. They don't guarantee you a place on my team," Juric said bluntly. He knows that sitting on the bench isn't his game, especially not at 35. Offers are already in the air, with interest from MLS and the Saudi Pro League. Here's the kicker. Does Hummels go for the cash grab in the Middle East, or will he chase the joy of football under American skies? With MLS teams hungry for defensive reinforcements, he could slot right in. On the flip side, the Saudi Pro League offers a lucrative final payday that's hard to resist. Decisions. Hummels might have one last move left in him, but where? Will he opt to play where the sun always shines and the pressure is lighter, or does he aim to rewrite the closing chapter of his career somewhere more competitive? Time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This winter, the veteran defender is back in the market, and this time he's not settling for second best.